Hey guys, it's the Captain here. I'm joined by the devilishly handsome Ariel Posen, wonderfully talented, for another guitar lesson. Because for those of you who've been watching the series of lessons that I've done with Danish Pete, you'll know that I've basically learned everything he has to tell me, and I just need to move on to a superior. Or secretly, actually, the truth of it was I think Pete was going to kill me if I asked any more stupid questions. So I needed a more patient tutor.
There you go. Good luck. I'm here and willing and able.
So you just heard Ariel there jamming over a track that Pete wrote called Room for Relaxation, which of course there is, always.
Yes.
Which is on an album of backing tracks that you can buy, guitar jam backing tracks that you can buy off of your favourite music download site.
Yes.
Just search for Andertons TV guitar jams. And my quest is to break out of playing the same old shitty minor pentatonic blues riffs over every single song ever in over nearly 1,000 videos now.
Yes, yes.
And I thought, who better to ask other than the virtuoso guitar player sitting next to me here? So come on, tell me what I was watching that, and you were playing some stuff in that kind of sort of D flat kind of, or C sharp, whatever we call that particular key, that looked sort of pentatonic-y. And then you were sort of lubbing other stuff in.
Yeah, I tried to do a few different approaches without getting a little too far in a certain realm. Basically, the song was in E major.
Yep.
E major, B minor, 5 minor, A, 4, if you think in numbers or just chords. Bridge was F sharp minor, which is the 2 minor, to the 4, which is A, back to the 1. So,
it's interesting you refer to like 1s and 4s and 5s. I am just about now, well, not even just about, I'm beginning to understand, because you hear about people talking about blues shuffles at the beginning. Are we doing a 1-4-5 like that, or a 1-3-5 or whatever, and I'm going, I don't really understand, but now I kind of do.
So before I get into why I was doing it, the reason, thinking in numbers and intervals, scale degrees, they're all just, every note of a scale is a number, right? The more you start thinking in intervals and numbers, so I look at that song and go, 1, 5 minor, 4. The more you focus in on the actual chord changes and the scale degrees rather than the actual key, so that it applies to every key you ever play. So if someone goes G flat, let's do the same thing. It's like you're still thinking the same way.
You're still thinking 1, 5, 4 within the G.
Exactly.
A scale.
And rather than being like,
scale.
I only can play that progression in E, or I can only, that's a common thing that guitar players and other musicians do.
I don't know, people who've dipped into this lesson maybe and haven't seen the previous one. Well, in fact, we never really touched on the numbers. So you're talking that, 1, 5, 4 is essentially saying the first chord is the root chord. So
exactly.
The 1 is in this case is the E.
Yeah.
The B is the 5, so that's the 5th chord in the E.
Yeah, let me show you.
Scale? Yeah, go on.
So in a major scale, E major, right?
Yeah.
There's 8 notes. Really, it's 7, but the 1 and the 8 is the octave.
Yeah.
So basically, a song like this, E, B minor, A, that's 1, 5 minor, 4. So 1, 5. That's the B. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the way to think of it is that it's all still under E. It's still in the root key, which is E.
Yeah.
And those notes still fall within the scale.
Yeah.
Which means that there's places to play those notes within an E major scale. So E major.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I was going to say, so what is it about that particular chord progression, particularly as the first chord that we're starting on is a minor chord, what is it that's made you go for a major scale? So, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Ignore that bit. Okay, so the first chord is major, which is kind of leaning you towards saying, okay, well, we'll approach this then in the major scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So, with our first chord being a major, it's kind of setting the tone. And it's telling us that, okay, the root of the song is in a major key.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to get nerdy, you know, G sharp.
Right.
That's our major third. Not G, like E minor.
Yeah.
But it does have a place in this context, and I'll explain it. With E major, kind of what I'm thinking in a song like this is that I could just play E major the whole time. And there's a lot of different ways to improvise and ways to think. You could pick a scale, you could do arpeggios, you could do the modes thing, think that way if you want. But E major, it has all these notes. So like E major is E major, and then B minor, we hit that, and I'm thinking, okay, in E major, let's see, in B minor, we have B, we have A is the flat 7, D is the minor third, F sharp is our 5th, in that chord. And if I'm sounding like I'm speaking Chinese, I'm sorry, you can stop.
But it's fine. I think the more I immerse myself in this, the more it becomes normal. So
my point is that all those notes, for the most part, show up in an E major scale. So that's the 2 in E. I'm just kind of transposing. The minor third of B minor is actually a flat 7 of E, and that's why E minor pentatonic would work over the B minor chord. So check it out.
Yes.
Right? It's the minor third of, right? And then to the 4, that's the third of the 4 chord is just an E minor, it is just an E, like the 6th of E, which is our C sharp.
Yeah.
So
you're going back to the sort of the major scale. Loop those 3 chords just because it's easier than playing the backing track, and then we can we can understand more about where you're approaching those.
Okay, so
where are you?
So right there, for example, what were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it wasn't terribly clear to me in that little, what you were playing, where you were changing from the major to the, were you changing to the minor over the B?
I did. I went to I played the minor of B, not E minor.
Right.
So I'm following the chords more so and outlining the changes.
Right.
So the idea is that, and this is a way I try to think, is like, I want to play that progression. If I didn't have accompaniment, you could hear the changes.
Yeah.
So like if I was going. So you can kind of hear the chords.
I could massively hear the chords, but I'm still not entirely sure what shapes you're playing. So obviously the first one was that kind of was A major.
Exactly. The first one I did was very simple. Just I was going.
Right.
So that's the E.
Yeah.
And then I went down. So that's the flat 7 in E.
Right.
But in B, that's our minor note in B.
Okay.
Which is like your key note to think, okay, I can play that note.
Because essentially that's the sort of, that's that note within the minor note within the B chord.
Yeah.
So,
and like if you think of it, if you're playing in major pentatonic, obviously that note sticks out like a sore thumb. But when you play it over that B chord,
you get away
it
with
outlines it more.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the A. I was going.
So you've got the major.
The major
right,
of A. Yeah.
So I mean, effectively those are your target notes, aren't you? Where you're
Yeah. And then that's the 5th of E.
Yeah, so I'm back into the E.
Now you're back, yeah. The most important thing to start breaking out of any kind of box is that you actually need to be able to hear the notes and hear where you want to take it. Like you need to hear the key, like those chord changes need to be circulating in your head in a way that you understand it, and that in a way where you want to take it, take your notes and put them over these chords because you know that they're coming and you know where you want the melody in your head to go. And once you get caught up in like boxes and scales and stuff, it really gets convoluted and hard to do that because we get so caught up in scales and positions and we stop thinking less musically.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because I don't think you can't make that leap though, can you? You can't just go, well, I've got a few chops down, but now I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sing everything in my head and play it over the top. You've surely got to know, hasn't all of that kind of theory got to be almost like second nature? So as soon as you're,
it is.
I don't know that you can just cut out this great big middle bit of learning before you can just go, oh yeah, so I'll just go da 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 da, and I'll know what to.
It's useful to know a good amount of stuff because at the end of the day, it's like that's our language, right? And when you know a language that you speak, I mean, a lot of people do this, but you don't learn a language just to say fancy words all the time. You use it just to understand things. You want to sound intelligent, sophisticated. It's our language, but it's not what shapes how we play the instrument. We're just using that as vocabulary to get like the music in our head out and not to get caught up in just thinking, oh, major pentatonic. We're thinking, I'm using major pentatonic because I want to express this or whatever it is, you know?
So I think ultimately though, well, not ultimately, the journey that I'm trying to be on is, I'm a 45-year-old guitar player that's played the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not a young, sprightly, slim 31-year-old anymore, or even less so of a sort of a 16-year-old kind of knowledge sponge with the time and self-discipline to just sit and practice scales over and over and over and over every day. That was then, and I should have done it more, and I didn't. So what I'm really looking, I suppose, are for cheats now to sort of go, okay, look, I've got okay feel and tone and everything, and I'm okay, but I'm just looking for someone to go, well, just play what you're playing, but do it here instead of here, and remember that on the second chord, if it's this, you should just throw this in, and then, that for me will be a massively, I will see my playing get like 50% more interesting. Yeah. Without necessarily having to do 50% more learning. Does that make sort of sense? I think. Isn't that what everybody wants? Everybody just wants the shortcut.
Everyone wants the shortcut.
It's the magic when you've got like, some super duper guitar player at a clinic and someone in the audience goes, what plectrums do you use? Which is secretly meaning, could I be as good as you if I just bought a different plectrum?
What's your string gauge?
So it's the how do I get the, what plectrum do you use basically?
Okay, well, we could go through a few different things. I'm not normally like a cheat guy when it comes to this stuff. I am a firm believer in like put the time in and learn this thing inside and out so that there's no, But I have one thing, a couple things we can try.
Let's try.
There aren't really, it's not going to be any help to be like, hey, hit the pentatonic scale on the B minor, because that actually is not going to sound good. Because you're transposing, you're taking it out of E major. Yeah. And the whole idea is that we want to play over B minor but still be in E major. Yeah. So one thing that's really useful. Oh.
I was going to say, no, if it's fine. I was going to say put the loop on again, but we'll do that in because then you can kind of show how that just playing the pentatonic in B minor just doesn't work.
I'll show you right now. Yeah. Check it out.
That works. Does it work
It does
in the context of the loop, but not in the song?
Yeah,
maybe?
it's more so like harmonically speaking and melodically. It's just the root center is E major, so you're taking it away from that. It's like, you know, to throw it in there, you know. Like a little blast of something isn't good. It's not like wrong. There's no right or wrong. You're allowed to do whatever you want. You know, technically, you want to keep it in E. I think it sounds more musical.
Presumably, if you then carried on to the A and just went to pentatonic in the A, it would all get a bit dull and boring, would it? That's where it goes wrong.
Well, that's
totally wrong.
Immediately, you're playing a C, and over an E.
Yeah.
That's like a sharp 5.
Because I thought you got away with it over the B, but you didn't get away with it over the.
No, because in A, the major third is a C sharp, again, which is the 6 of E. I know I'm speaking Chinese a little bit. So when you play a C natural over E, you're getting an augmented chord, and it just sounds. It's just
Not
wrong
cool.
context. So one thing that might be helpful for you and you guys at home, if you want to explore playing over changes a bit more without having to learn all that stuff, but starting to throw little things in, is arpeggios. And it's a really useful way to start playing around the chords and then playing off of an arpeggio. So you know what an arpeggio is, right?
No.
Okay. So those that don't know what an arpeggio is,
but I don't really know what it is.
An arpeggio is all the notes in a chord.
Oh, right.
So,
okay, fine.
So you've heard people like Joss Allen or other shredders who know how to do that crazy sweeping stuff, which I don't know how to do. A lot of that is based around arpeggios, and it's just the notes of a chord. So in E major, you know, 1, 3, 5 is in a major chord. So 1. That's 2 octaves of an arpeggio. B minor, or B minor 7. We just throw in the 7. And then A. So you start.
So a lot of that is like one note per string stuff, isn't it? Where you're
or sometimes 2 notes. Yeah. You want to try one? Like just try an E major one.
Oh no, hang on. Let me try to roll it. I mean, that would be.
And throw in the major on the first one.
Oh.
Check it. Yeah. And then B minor.
Sorry.
7th fret.
So that's the B minor. So am I still
Same thing, but with now a minor instead of a major.
So that.
Yeah. And now an A major.
But with.
Yep. Okay. So those are arpeggios. They can be really simple like that. You know, once you take a chord, you know, if you play E major, but if you said E13 sharp 11,
Of course.
it would go, you know. Sorry. Or sorry. That was the worst E13 sharp 11 arpeggio ever. But those are the notes. It's just outlining the chords.
And what's the point of this, though? The point
is that
I play the arpeggios over each root, over each chord of the progression?
Well, here's the thing. I don't want you to just run the arpeggios up, because then you're just going to sound like people that run scales. And the last thing you want to do is this. Right? You don't want to run that.
But the notes work.
If I
use the notes more musically.
Yeah, if you just center your notes around that, so that you know, okay, I can do a B minor here or here or here or here. You want to be, obviously, the more the merrier. Like everywhere you can be comfortable. So if you're playing it, the arpeggios to kind of focus your attention, or focus your I don't know where you want to play over those chords, and you're not playing any of the wrong notes. Even if you just start thinking arpeggios, it lets you play a progression and see the chords more so. And that if you're thinking E is my main key,
Yeah.
you just do little hints of these other chords. So I'll do it again. So like that's a pretty basic version of looking at it, but you're essentially just playing licks around the chords, and as long as you keep it, you know, you're playing an A major arpeggio instead of an A minor position kind of thing, it's going to sound good because you're still in those keys and you're still going back to E. So you just got to, the trick is, this is a good kind of hack, but you got to work on bringing that back into the key. Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Here we go. Do you want to do it to the track or the loop?
We'll do it to the loop if you want. I got to change it. Okay, let me.
Okay. Sorry to stop you. So already,
I know,
but you're starting to hear it, right?
I'm hearing it. I'm very, very consciously, literally doing what you said not to do,
no,
which is
okay,
literally play the notes.
That's a
and
good way to
scale.
start.
But yeah, for me, I just need to kind of just needs to become more second nature and more like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I need to also know how to bring it in at the right time and then play the other stuff around it as well. So,
and
it's a cool hack. Does that kind of generally work? Just anything. So if whatever the whatever chords are in the song, you can kind of play that.
Because you're just playing, you know, even if your chords are, you know, you're just playing the notes of whatever chords you're playing.
It can't be wrong.
It can't be wrong. The trick is just tying it in together with the key of the song, in this case E major, and making it sound musical.
And staying musical.
Yeah.
That's the trick, isn't
Which
it?
brings me to another idea, if you're up for it. First of all, like, once you start getting aware of those, I know you were just doing that kind of thing. If you keep working on something like that, eventually it's just going to click, and you're just going to start hearing, okay. You're just going to start hearing how to turn it back into.
I mean, at the moment, I'm not.
Yeah, it's fresh.
I'm picturing the bar chord and playing the notes from the bar chord. I'm not even beginning to go, where else could I have played that chord and what other notes could I pick out? So that'll be a whole another practice session. Oh,
but that's a good way to think. It's a good road to go on and like start working on.
I might just take up golf, I think.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably better anyways. More relaxing. I do have one suggestion.
Go on, do that.
Those of you that have ever had lessons with me or whatever, come to a clinic or anything.
Do you do Skype lessons and stuff like that?
I do.
Oh, we'll put a link in the description below for where you can get Skype lessons with Ariel here.
Let's do it. One thing I have people do often, I put them on the spot, is sing their solo, because my whole thing is that the voice is limitless, right?
Yeah.
If you went up to me and said, hey, can you sing or whatever? And I go, yeah. And then you go, can you play it on guitar? And I go, you know, wrong key, but I can find it.
Yeah.
A lot of people have more trouble with that because the voice is kind of limitless. It's a bit harder on an instrument, but we want to get to the point where we can do that on the instrument, because the instrument is just the tool to get the music out. Doesn't matter if it's a guitar or a piano, trumpet.
Yeah.
We want to be playing music. We don't want to play guitar,
except
right?
the banjo. That's obviously.
Band. Yeah. My whole thing is
never good.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to play music first rather than guitar first, right?
Yes.
So a good exercise is to take a solo, and you're singing the solo, and it's important to not just play a solo and sing along to what you're playing, but lead with your voice. You're singing the solo and then trying to play along in real time with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we literally, just before the camera started rolling, Ariel said this, and I was sort of going, but even then, I'm going, I don't know, I'm definitely not playing what I'm singing. I'm definitely singing, but I know what note I'm going to play, so I can sing that note before I've even played the note.
Exactly.
But in my brain, I'm still not. It's still the wrong way around.
You're doing you're just doing muscle memory habit.
Yeah, I'm just doing basically.
And this will break you out of it if you do it the right way.
It's a good, not dissimilar to a lesson from an old Paul Gilbert DVD from like 1985 or whatever, where he's doing the same thing but rhythmically. So he's going, when you're approaching a solo, instead of literally just sort of, he's imagine you've got like the bass drum, and you're like, and what you're actually going to go is, what kind of fits cool with the music is like da 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 da, and then you go, so the solo becomes, instead of going da 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 da, it goes da 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 da, and it's like, it's relative. You can make that as difficult or as simple as you want to. Yeah. But it's just to like, don't just play the solo in like ba 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 ba.
Yeah, I call it scale-itis. It doesn't actually make sense because itis is usually like an ailment or an illness, I think. But scale-itis in my definition is just when you solo, you're just playing scales up and down, instead of using the scale as slang or language, as vocabulary. Yeah. So, how much slack is on the iPad there?
What do you want to do?
If you want to pass it to me.
Loads, plenty. Yeah.
So what I want to do.
So I don't know. Is that's the right song? But we're right at the end.
Yeah,
of the
I'll start
song.
from the beginning again. So what I want to try.
Yeah.
Just I'll stop you after a little bit. Just do your normal thing.
How I.
Do whatever feels natural to you. If you want to try the arpeggio thing, go for it.
Okay.
Just you be you, man.
So
and then after that, I want to try the singing thing.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm sorry to stop you. You just did this. You just went, and I know that you wanted to go, but you weren't sure, so you went to the top of it, and then you hit it.
Yes.
But see what I mean? It's about starting to hear it and just. I'm sorry to stop you.
No,
that was just an interesting point I wanted to point.
And that's the breakthrough, isn't it? It's this idea of going. And I think this is where I enjoy listening to players like you and Pete so much, is because it's so musical. It's not a forced, like, the brain isn't going, these are the chords and therefore these are the scales and therefore these are the. It's just going, here's something musical, but you've only managed to get there because the sort of the theory and the practice, and you've put the stuff in.
Essentially, you want to tell a story. You want to take people on a journey. You want to start somewhere. You want to take it somewhere else. You don't just want to, if you're talking to someone, you want to tell a story. You want to, you don't just want to go.
It's really weird. You know what? That is super weird. The language thing, like if somebody started talking to me in French, and French is the only sort of second language that I've got, and it's pretty. Actually, do you know what? My grandmother's French, and so
mine too.
I've got cool. So I've got this kind of loads. When I was really young, I wouldn't say I was ever bilingual, but it was certainly quite familiar to me. And then the older the older I've got, and the less frequently I visit France and see my French grandmother and all this kind of stuff, the more you forget it. Yeah. But it's in there. But it's quite a lot like playing. So speaking English for me is the minor pentatonic scale.
Exactly.
And speaking French is all this other stuff. So it's like I kind of wanna. And that's the difficulty. So if somebody speaks French to me, I need like 5 seconds to process what they've said, think about what I'm going to reply. And so it doesn't feel conversational. It feels more awkward. But I guess that's and yet speaking English, you not only can I listen to what you're saying to me, I'm also composing my reply simultaneously.
Exactly.
And it's completely second nature.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess I've just got to try and get there. Yeah, in all fairness, somebody should have given me a guitar as soon as I popped out of my mother's womb. And then I'd have been as good at, guitar as I am at speaking English. Which maybe isn't that good anyway.
Okay, I'm sorry to stop you.
Yeah, no, it's good. I want to be stopped.
Yeah, go again. Just same thing. Do your thing.
I'm really comfortable over this. The problem is I'm comfortable playing in this kind of this D flat.
Yeah. Just try starting down here.
What?
Yeah, start down low, work your way up,
That's
try
always a
to
good
tell
tip,
a
isn't
story.
it? Yeah, okay.
Here we go. Okay, it's okay. Okay. Sorry to stop you again. Nice stuff, man.
It's
that thing you did? I wanted to hear you play that lick twice and then over the B minor because it works great.
See, I suppose I'm just sort of, it's so interesting. Speaking a foreign language is such an interesting analogy for this, because what I'm doing is that first chord, this is me speaking English going.
Yeah.
Because I'm comfy. The second chord is me speaking French. I'm going, because I'm kind of thinking, oh yeah, that'll probably work, but I'm not instantly going to it. I need like that 1 second to process.
Yeah.
And then by the time I've processed it, the chord's moved on to the next one. And I'm going like, now I'm playing catch up.
I could just see you thinking like so hard once the chord started changing. So let's try this now. If you were to sing a solo over that, I bet you would know what to sing over it.
Interesting.
Da, 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 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so try to do that.
Okay.
You're not going to hear him singing, obviously.
Well, you might do. I've got the lapel on. You might hear
it if, whoever's editing this decides to throw it in. Okay, so you're going to sing your solo.
Yeah, okay.
A couple things to keep in mind. I'm going to stop you if I can tell that you're just starting to sing what you're playing.
What I'm playing.
You want to play what you're singing. So if you make a mistake and you don't necessarily hit what you're singing, that's okay.
Okay,
but
this
just
is
stick with staying in your head.
Brutal. Okay.
Stick with staying in your head and yeah, just stick to in your head. Okay. You can do this, man. It's going to be great.
Okay, we'll try it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even think what to sing now.
Sing it.
There's some bits, isn't there, like around the, where you can, literally that was like 50-50. Some of that was sung, and then there was other bits where I was going, I just better play something to fill the space, and that wasn't sung.
But here's some things that I noticed, and I want to do it again because that was only 35 seconds, but starting to have like more phrasing in your playing when you were singing, sometimes when people are playing, they're just like, you were going, you were leaving more space. You were playing more dynamically.
Yeah. Playing
and
less, that's another thing.
And there was more phrasing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try it again. if you don't sing it, why don't you start here? Is that a good note to start? Yeah. And just
Where do I want to go up from?
don't think about it. Don't think about it right now. Here we go.
Okay.
Sing it. You gotta sing first.
Yeah.
Oh. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. It's great. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I immediately noticed just you started playing more musical. There was phrasing.
Yeah.
There was more space being left, and every note had a purpose rather than just playing notes to fill the space.
Yeah.
You're still thinking a little much, and that's just because you're just psyching yourself out. It's a great exercise to just keep doing it. Like think the arpeggio.
You know what this is? This is something where actually this environment, other people in the room, knowing it's being recorded, is probably the worst.
You cannot be more on the spot.
You know, and actually, you know, what I really, really want to do is take the track, sit in a room, and just literally and sing loudly and play all the wrong notes until eventually all the right notes come out. And
it's okay to play the wrong notes. Like it's good to, because then you start hearing it more.
Yeah.
And you just know how and where to avoid those notes. Yeah. And then you just start getting connected from here and here. Yeah. And it's in here, whatever is in here that you want to get out, will just start.
And I agree. Kind of, you know, building a story, starting down here, moving up the fretboard, phrasing, playing less.
Yeah.
When there's a note that is correct, just stay on. You know, don't feel
less
like you've got to rush to the
less
next
is
note.
more.
Yeah. Look, man, it's such a pleasure. You know, I know we haven't seen you for a while because the Brothers Landreth thing's kind of on fire at the moment, and hopefully going places. But yes, thank you so much for coming back, and
always, man.
Hopefully you guys have enjoyed some of the videos that Ariel's done with Pete more recently as well. Although actually this video may go up, I think this video might go up pretty quick, so the videos that Pete's done with Ariel will be after that. So subscribe to Andertons TV if you haven't already. Love you, man.
Love you, man. Oh. Love you, man. Oh.
The worst hand slap ever, but it's fine. We'll edit some enormous explosion. Anyway, I tell you, let's just play the track out.
Okay.
Play the track out, and you start, and I'll follow, and we'll fade out gloriously at the end.
Love it.
I'll have probably done this 35,000 times to get this correctly by this time.
All right, here we go.
You know what? We're going to end now, but you know what it's like? You know when you try and speak French to someone, but they don't really understand them? So you just shout English loudly and slowly at them. That's what I've gone, oh no, I can't work out what to play in French. So I'm just going to shout loudly in English at you.
Salad with pecans. Pecans. Pecans.
See you guys. Bye. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Andertons Guitar YouTube channel. If you're a drummer or a keyboard player or interested in music technology, you might find one of our other channels interesting, and I'll put details of those in the description below. If you want to find out more about the products we've just featured, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this, please click here. If you want to watch another video on our guitar channel, click down here. And to subscribe to our guitar channel, click here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.